this video, I'm going to be talking about my spiritual awakening story, as well as some tips and advice for you guys to help guide you along yours. Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Noah back again with another video. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I help people awaken to their true abilities through wellness and spirituality. And in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my spiritual awakening story, my journey, as well as some tips and advice for you if you just started out with your spiritual awakening. You know, and if you don't know what a spiritual awakening is, it is pretty much where you know, a lot of the times we live life just going through the motions. We don't really think about what we're doing, whether that's, you know, it's like it's wake up, you know, eat, sleep, work, and stuff like that, and then go back to sleep and repeat the cycle over again. But when you have a spiritual awakening, then you understand that, you know, life is so precious, and that you start to realize that you're a lot more than this physical human body, and you start to realize that you are spirit as well. You are spirit, and you know, this body is just pretty much your avatar, and you know, and you realize that you're a multidimensional being living a temporary human experience, you know, and so your life just completely changes. You look at life completely differently. And so I want to share with you my story, as well as give you guys some advice along yours to hopefully help you guys out. And you know, yeah, so without further ado, my story, it happened about a year ago. I'm 20 right now. This happened when I was 19. It happened when I was 19. It was I believe August. I think it was last year, August. So it happened about a year and 4 months ago. And so pretty much what happened was you know, if you guys know who Ralph Smart is, when I was like 12 years old or something like that, one of his videos came up on my, just on my YouTube channel randomly. And it was like, signs that you don't, you know, these are reasons why you shouldn't open up your third eye or whatever. That was back when I was like 12 or something like that, 12 or 13. And I just remember just like kind of like ignoring it. I just like wasn't really interested. But it's funny because I found his channel at the beginning of my spiritual awakening. So pretty much what happened was I followed this one NBA 2K. I was a huge NBA 2K fan. I don't really play it anymore, but I used to watch a lot of NBA 2K channels, and one of the NBA 2K channels that I used to watch was Illuminati. You know what I mean? If you guys know who that is, he has a spiritual channel now. It's called Spiritual So. And when I used to be a huge fan, but I was actually about to unfollow him because he just didn't really seem super mature, and I didn't really resonate with his videos as much anymore. And so I was about to unsubscribe to him, but I didn't. And then eventually he made a video talking about how he started meditating and how it has pretty much changed his life. And then he was talking about how he wanted to start a spiritual YouTube channel. And so, you know, when he pretty much said that to start meditation, then that's kind of what I did. You know, I started meditating, and then I started figuring out all this stuff about the world that we live in. You know, you start to ask questions about your reality. You start to ask questions about what's going on around you, and you just, you know, you start to realize that, you know, when I started meditating, I was able to understand that a lot of the stuff that we're being fed on the news is someone else's narrative. It's not really ours. And so, and then I started finding spiritual YouTube channels. Spiritual So was my first, obviously, and then I found Ralph Smart, and then I found Aaron Doughty, and then I found Trennis Henderson. You know what I mean? And then I found Mark Houghton. And since then, you know what I mean, I've just been, you know, my life has changed in a completely different way. You know, I went from, you know, this dude who didn't have a lot of confidence in himself to someone who's just living his best life each and every day. You know what I mean? And so I do want to kind of go into some tips though. You know, my story, it was kind of, and yeah, so ever since that day, let me just, I guess, finish up, but you know, I started going vegan. I started finding out what they were doing to animals, you know what I mean? And then I started going vegan, inspired by Spiritual So, but I started, you know, going vegan, but it was really hard for me because my family didn't eat vegan. You know, they ate meat a lot. And then eventually my family switched. They went from eating meat to just being vegan, and which was super beneficial for me. You know, I'm super grateful for it to this day. And so now everyone in my house is vegan. And yeah, but so my life changed completely for the better. You know what I mean? You just wake up to a completely new person to who you are. You know what I mean? You start to realize that you can take your power back and you can start to live the life that you want to, you know. And I started realizing that, and you know, ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber, and now I'm living that dream every single day, you know, making daily YouTube videos. It's just been a goal of mine, and I'm just super grateful, honestly. It kind of makes me emotional talking about it right now, to be honest, but you know, when you just go through it, you understand that, you know, you become a lot more grateful for your life, you know, and you're able to just appreciate the smaller things, you know. And so yeah, that's my story, but I want to go into kind of some side effects that happens when you start to awaken and you start to become aware. You know, you start to realize, you know, I was finding that I was going down some of these really deep rabbit holes, and I was starting to look up, you know, what the elites were doing, you know, and I started just being this complete conspiracy theorist. But at the end of the day, you know, when we talk about conspiracy theorists, that term was coined by the CIA back in the day, you know what I mean? So conspiracy, they made up that word so that people wouldn't question the reality that we were living in, or the narrative that we've been fed ever since we were children, rather. I was going on this huge tangent of, you know, watching just a whole bunch of like conspiracy theorists, you know, I was looking up truths about, like, you know, certain politicians and stuff like that. And I was just going down these deep rabbit holes. And when you start to question your reality a lot, then it often can really affect you. And it's affected me too. And, you know, still to this day, sometimes I'll go down some of those rabbit holes, but I'll have to catch myself. So one of my advice that I can give to you guys is just to realize that, you know, you might want to go down the conspiracy theory type rabbit hole. You know what I mean? You might want to question a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, we can get really upset at the government and what everything around us is going on. But just realize that that's not really good for your health. You know what I mean? And for me, I have to kind of just step back and realize that there's so much to appreciate in this life. And we have to realize that we can change the world that we want to just by being that, you know? And so, you know, like I said, one of the side effects is really just not liking, you know, you can start to feel just real, you know, hatred and just real anger towards your exterior world, because you've been lied to ever since you were a kid, you know, programmed to think that you have to go to school to be successful, you know what I mean? And all these different limiting factors. But then you start to realize that that's the system, you know what I mean? That's the system that they built, you know what I mean? It's not a system that we built. And so just realize that, you know, you have the power to create your own reality. And so you don't have to go down those, you know, rabbit holes, especially if they really affect your health, you know what I mean? That's kind of just my advice. But another thing is, you know, another side effect is people are going to start to look at you weird. You know, people are going to start to, not everyone is going to, you know, when I started my journey, there was a lot of people who just didn't, you know, one of the main side effects for me anyways, is I really wanted to tell everyone about it. I wanted to tell everyone that, man, we're, spiritual beings, and like we can manifest whatever we want. Life is just literally like a simulation. I wanted to tell everybody that, but when I started telling my family members, then I looked like a real weirdo, you know what I mean? And I looked like I didn't really know what I was talking about. And so one tip that I can give to you guys, if you're feeling like that, like no one is looking at you right, or no one's really appreciating you for who you are, they're kind of looking at you a little bit weird, is to just continue to be yourself. A lot of the times we want to tell other people we want to we have this call to just wake people up. But in reality, us trying to wake someone up is literally resisting them from waking up. It's like I was talking about in the video earlier about detachment. If you are detached to a certain outcome, if you're attached to an outcome, if you're trying to get someone to wake up, that neediness type energy is like I want you to wake up. I need you to wake up. It's resistant. People are going to, start to resist that. Rather, you can become you can just being who you are, and watching other people seeing you as the same way, they will start to understand that, or they'll start to see you as just, they'll start to appreciate you for who you are. And so my tip is that if you really want to wake someone up, just know that it's not really going to happen. You can make people aware of it. You can slip in here and there what your kind of belief system is, but trying to wake someone up is, most of the time, it's just not going to work. And just be who you are, and just really live in the moment and stuff. Is there anything else that I need to go over? I know that there's other side effects, but what's another one? Yeah, you're just gonna, another one is you're gonna lose friends. I was best friends with one of my boys, or one of my former friends, like last year. And then when I started having a spiritual awakening, I found all these things about sun gazing, meditation. And then my friend, he judged me for it. He thought that I was a weirdo, you know what I mean? And so I had to realize that I was just on a different, level than him. We were kind of just growing apart. And, I just didn't like the same things as him anymore. And we, when we would talk and stuff, it would just be very just small talk. It would just be like, oh, well, who are you watching on for college football? Or, just stuff that I didn't really want to talk about. Like I want to talk about like deep stuff, you know what I mean? And that's another thing. You want to talk about deep stuff with people, and you'll start to realize that not everyone is for you. And through this spiritual awakening, that part can be hard, because you realize that your friends they're not on the same level as you, and they're in terms of you're just at a point where you just don't resonate with them anymore. You guys don't vibrate at the same frequency as you once did. I once vibrated at the same frequency as my friend, but I eventually vibrate on a different level than your friends. And it can be sad, it can be upsetting, but for me it really wasn't, because I understood that there will be people in my life who just don't resonate with me, but there will also be people who will want to be with me, and there will be people who I will meet who are on the same frequency as me, and they'll start to just really understand me, you know what I mean? And that's another thing. People just won't understand you, I feel like, is one of the big side effects to having a spiritual awakening. People aren't going to understand you, but that's 100% okay. You know what I mean? Get comfortable. You're going to be a lot more lonely. So get comfortable with being by yourself. You know what I mean? Practice meditation. Practice stillness. It's been super huge for me. And with that being said, guys, I think I covered a lot of the side effects that I wanted to cover. So hopefully these tips can help you. Like I said before, you're going to be lonely a lot of the times, but one plus side is that you can start to feel comfortable with being by yourself. And the more and more you start to become comfortable with yourself, the more and more others are going to start to be comfortable when they're around you. And so that's one of the key bonuses of having a spiritual awakening, is that, you know, you start to know really who you are, and you start to understand that you are so much more powerful than you've been told. And when you actually start to believe how powerful you are, other people are going to start to see you as that. And so you'll be able to really attract a lot of abundance in your life and a lot of relationships in your life. And so, yeah, but with that being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This one was a fun one for me. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, rather, on what videos you want me to discuss, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to check out my Twitter, TikTok, and, I think my Instagram's right here, Twitter and TikTok, or, yeah, it's Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Check them out. But with that being said, my friends, have a wonderful afternoon, morning, or night, wherever you're at. And peace, love, and happiness. Mwah.